I need to say something today that is going to make a lot of people uncomfortable, including some people who consider themselves very health conscious, very informed, and very careful about what they put on their plate. Because the vegetables I am about to warn you about are not junk food. They are not processed. They are not sitting in a fast food container. They are sitting in the produce section of your grocery store, labeled as fresh and healthy. And you have probably been told your entire life that eating more vegetables is always better. But that blanket advice, eat more vegetables, all vegetables are good for you, the more the better, is one of the most oversimplified and potentially dangerous pieces of nutritional guidance for people over the age of 60. And today, I am going to tell you exactly why. Because the biology of a 65-year-old body is not the biology of a 35-year-old body. The medications most seniors take, the health conditions most seniors manage, the specific physiological changes that aging produces in digestion, kidney function, thyroid function, and immune regulation. All of these factors mean that certain vegetables that are genuinely healthy for younger people can actively worsen the health of older adults in ways that are specific, measurable, and backed by solid research. My name is Dr. James. Welcome back to the channel, and today I'm going to tell you the 3 vegetables that people over 60 should approach with serious caution or eliminate entirely, and the 3 vegetables that seniors specifically need to be eating every single day for reasons that go far beyond general nutrition. Before I get into the specific vegetables, I want to explain the framework I am using to make these recommendations, because I think it will help you evaluate the information more critically and apply it more intelligently to your own situation. The 3 vegetables I am going to warn you about are not universally dangerous for every senior in every situation. What makes them problematic for people over 60 is that they interact specifically and significantly with the physiological changes and the health conditions that are most common in this age group. Kidney function declines with age. By age 70, most adults have lost 30 to 40% of their peak kidney function, often without any symptoms and without any diagnosis of kidney disease. Thyroid function becomes more fragile and more vulnerable to dietary interference after 60. Blood-thinning medications, which are among the most widely prescribed drugs in the senior population, interact dangerously with specific nutritional compounds found in certain vegetables. And the digestive changes that accompany aging, reduced stomach acid, altered gut motility, changes in the microbiome, affect how certain vegetables are processed and what they produce inside an older gut. These are not reasons to fear vegetables. They are reasons to be more specific, more informed, and more individualized about which vegetables you prioritize and which you limit. Knowledge is not fear. Knowledge is power, and you are about to have more of it. The first vegetable that people over 60 need to approach with serious caution is raw spinach, and I want to be precise about that word raw because it matters enormously. Spinach is one of those foods that sits at the very top of almost every healthy eating list. It is dark, leafy, nutrient-dense, rich in iron and folate and vitamin K, and a range of beneficial compounds. And in moderate amounts, cooked spinach is genuinely nutritious for most seniors. But raw spinach, consumed in the large quantities that have become fashionable through green smoothies and giant salads, is a very different matter for older adults for 2 specific reasons that almost nobody talks about. The first is oxalate content. Raw spinach is one of the highest oxalate foods in the human diet, containing approximately 600 to 700 milligrams of oxalate per 100 gram serving. Oxalates are naturally occurring compounds that bind to minerals, particularly calcium in the digestive tract, and form calcium oxalate crystals. In the kidneys, these crystals are the primary component of the most common type of kidney stones, and in people with reduced kidney function, which, as I mentioned, affects the majority of adults over 70 to some degree, the reduced ability to excrete oxalate compounds, the risk dramatically. But kidney stones are only the visible, acute manifestation of the problem. Research is increasingly concerned about the chronic, low-level accumulation of oxalate crystals in kidney tubule cells that occurs with consistently high oxalate intake, contributing to progressive kidney tissue damage in people whose kidneys are already operating with reduced reserve. The second reason raw spinach is problematic for many seniors is its impact on thyroid function. Raw spinach contains goitrogens compounds that interfere with the thyroid gland's ability to absorb iodine and produce thyroid hormone. In younger adults with robust thyroid function, moderate goitrogen intake is generally well tolerated. But thyroid dysfunction becomes increasingly common after 60. Hypothyroidism affects an estimated 20% of women over 60, and in people with existing or borderline thyroid issues, regular large amounts of raw spinach can measurably suppress thyroid function, worsening the fatigue, weight gain, cognitive fog, and cardiovascular risk that hypothyroidism produces. Cooking spinach reduces both oxalate content and goitrogenic activity by approximately 30 to 50%, which is why cooked spinach in moderate amounts is a very different proposition from raw spinach in large quantities. The second vegetable that seniors over 60 need to think very carefully about is raw kale and other raw cruciferous vegetables consumed in large amounts. I know. Kale has been elevated to almost mythological health status in our culture, and I understand the frustration of hearing a warning about something you have been told is a superfood. But the same goitrogen issue I described with raw spinach applies even more powerfully to kale, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, cauliflower, and cabbage when consumed raw in large quantities. These vegetables contain compounds called glucosinolates, which are converted by enzymes in the plant and in your gut into isothiocyanates and other compounds that are genuinely anti-cancer and anti-inflammatory. In moderate amounts, these are the compounds behind the legitimate health benefits of cruciferous vegetables. But glucosinolates are also potent goitrogens, and raw cruciferous vegetables consumed daily in large amounts have been documented in multiple case reports and clinical studies to cause significant thyroid suppression, even in people without pre-existing thyroid disease, and to cause serious thyroid crisis in people who already have compromised thyroid function. The critical word again is raw and large quantities. Lightly steaming or roasting cruciferous vegetables deactivates the myrosinase enzyme responsible for converting glucosinolates into their most goitrogenic forms, preserving the anti-cancer benefits while dramatically reducing the thyroid risk. Enjoying a cup of lightly steamed broccoli 3 or 4 times a week is not what I am warning you about. Drinking a large raw kale smoothie every morning is. The third vegetable that seniors on specific common medications must approach with great caution is, and this one surprises people every time, kale, spinach, collard greens, and other high vitamin K vegetables, specifically for the very large number of seniors who take warfarin or other vitamin K antagonist blood thinners. I want to address this separately from the thyroid concern because it affects a completely different population for a completely different reason, and the stakes are extremely high. Warfarin sold under the brand name Coumadin works by interfering with vitamin K's role in blood clotting. The dose of warfarin required to achieve the target anticoagulation effect is calibrated against a specific assumed level of dietary vitamin K intake. When you suddenly eat significantly more high vitamin K vegetables than usual, you are flooding your system with the very compound that warfarin is trying to block, potentially reducing warfarin's effectiveness and allowing dangerous clot formation. When you suddenly eat significantly less, warfarin's effect is amplified, potentially causing dangerous bleeding. The issue is not that seniors on warfarin cannot eat these vegetables, they absolutely can, and consistency is the key word their doctors should be emphasizing. The danger is in the inconsistency, eating large amounts some days and none other days, which creates dangerous swings in anticoagulation that can be life-threatening. If you are on warfarin, you need a conversation with your doctor specifically about your daily vitamin K intake and how to keep it consistent. Now let us talk about the 3 vegetables that seniors over 60 not only can eat freely, but urgently need to be eating every single day. Because after those warnings, I want to leave you with something powerfully positive and immediately actionable. The first is cooked beets. Beets contain a unique group of compounds called betalains, the pigments responsible for their deep red-purple color that are among the most potent anti-inflammatory and antioxidant compounds found in any vegetable. But for seniors specifically, the most extraordinary property of beets is their extraordinarily high nitrate content. Dietary nitrates from beets are converted by bacteria in your mouth and enzymes in your blood into nitric oxide, a gas that causes blood vessels to dilate, reduces vascular resistance, and improves blood flow throughout the body, including, and this is critical, to the brain and to the heart. Research from Wake Forest University found that older adults who drank beet juice daily showed measurably increased blood flow to the frontal lobe of the brain, the region most associated with cognitive function, decision-making, and working memory compared to a placebo group. In people with hypertension, beet consumption has been shown to reduce systolic blood pressure by an average of 4 to 5 millimeters of mercury, which translates to a meaningful reduction in stroke and heart attack risk. And for seniors with any degree of reduced cardiovascular reserve, the improved blood flow that beet-derived nitric oxide produces supports not just brain and heart health, but muscle oxygenation during physical activity, reducing fatigue and improving exercise tolerance. One medium beet roasted or boiled, consumed daily or near daily, is one of the simplest and most powerful nutritional investments a senior can make. The second vegetable that seniors over 60 must be eating consistently is cooked asparagus, and the reason is specific, important, and almost never discussed in mainstream nutrition content. Asparagus is one of the richest dietary sources of a compound called glutathione, often called the master antioxidant, which is the primary intracellular antioxidant defense system in your cells. Glutathione levels decline significantly. With age, research suggests that adults over 60 have glutathione levels 30 to 40% lower than young adults, and this decline is one of the primary reasons aging cells are more vulnerable to oxidative damage, more susceptible to cancer initiation, and less able to detoxify the environmental chemicals and metabolic waste products that accumulate over a lifetime. Asparagus also contains a significant amount of folate, which is essential for DNA repair, the process by which your cells fix the DNA damage that accumulates daily, and that, if left unrepaired, can initiate cancer. And asparagus contains inulin, a prebiotic fiber that specifically feeds the beneficial bacteria of the gut microbiome, supporting the immune function and the anti-inflammatory environment that older guts desperately need. 6 to 8 spears of asparagus 3 to 4 times per week, lightly roasted or steamed to preserve the glutathione content, is a simple and extraordinarily valuable addition to any senior's diet. The third vegetable that I consider almost medicinal for people over 60 is purple cabbage, and specifically cooked purple cabbage rather than raw, for the reasons I described earlier about cruciferous vegetables and thyroid function. Purple cabbage is one of the most anthocyanin-rich vegetables available, those same blue-purple pigments we discussed in the context of bilberry for eye health. And in the amounts found in a regular serving of purple cabbage, anthocyanins have been shown to reduce LDL cholesterol oxidation, improve insulin sensitivity, reduce systemic inflammation, and protect the blood-brain barrier, the protective interface between your bloodstream and your brain tissue, from the age-related degradation that contributes to cognitive decline and increased susceptibility to neurodegenerative conditions. Purple cabbage is also exceptionally high in vitamin C. A single cup of cooked purple cabbage delivers approximately 50% of the daily recommended vitamin C intake and contains significant amounts of vitamin K2 in a form that supports bone mineralization and cardiovascular health. It is inexpensive, widely available, and extraordinarily versatile. It can be braised, roasted, added to soups and stews, or lightly sautéed with olive oil and garlic into one of the most genuinely health-promoting side dishes you can put on a plate. What I want you to take away from today is not confusion or anxiety about vegetables. I want you to take away precision. The difference between a vegetable being genuinely beneficial for your aging body and being something that works against it often comes down to which vegetable, in what form, in what quantity, and in the context of your specific health conditions and medications. Eat your beets, eat your asparagus, eat your purple cabbage consistently and generously. Cook your spinach and your cruciferous vegetables rather than consuming them raw in large quantities. And if you are on blood thinners, have a specific and honest conversation with your doctor about your daily vitamin K intake and how to keep it consistent. These are not complicated changes, they are informed ones, and in the context of a body over 60 that deserves and requires a more individualized and more precise approach to nutrition than it did at 35, they are changes that can make a measurable and meaningful difference in your health, your vitality, and the quality of every day that lies ahead. My name is Dr. James, and if this video gave you something genuinely important and useful today, please hit that thumbs up right now and share it with every person over 60 in your life, because this is the kind of specific, age-appropriate nutritional information that most people are simply never given. Leave me a comment below and tell me which of these vegetables surprised you most. I read every single comment, and I love hearing from this community. And if you are not yet subscribed to this channel, please subscribe right now and hit that notification bell, because every single week I bring you the honest, evidence-based senior health information that gives you the real tools to take control of your health after 60. Subscribe right now. Your body after 60 deserves better than generic advice. I will see you in the next video.